Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, welcome to another video. Please hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, and hit the notification bell so you will be updated on all my future content. So this video is going to be a review of 3-digit by 1-digit multiplication. Our first example problem is 848 times 3, and I'm going to go through step by step how to solve that problem. So when you see a 3-digit by 1-digit multiplication problem, I want you to think of it as 3 separate single-digit multiplication problems where you regroup if our product is 10 or more. So we are going to start out simply by multiplying the digits in the ones place. We're going to multiply 8 times 3. 8 times 3 equals 24. Now 24, our product is more than 10, so we will have to regroup. So the 4 and 24 goes in the ones place. The 2 and 24 gets carried over to the tens place. Next, we're going to multiply 4 times 3, and then we have to add the 2 that we carried over to our answer. So 4 times 3 equals 12. 12 plus 2 equals 14. Again, our product is more than 10, so we have to regroup. So the 4 and 14 is going to go in the tens place. The 1 and 14 gets carried over to the hundreds place. So now we're going to multiply 8 times 3 again, and then we have to add the 1 that we carried over. So 8 times 3 equals 24. 24 plus 1 equals 25. And we have our final answer. 848 times 3 equals 2,544. And now we are moving on to example 2. It's the Mr. Camilleri show. It's the Mr. C. It's the Mr. Camilleri show. Shout out to Mr. C. All right, next example problem, 764 times 5. Let me make my multiplication sign a little neater here. All right, 764 times 5. So we're going to start in the ones place. We're going to start by multiplying 4 times 5. 4 times 5 equals 20. Since our product is more than 10, we are going to regroup. So the 0 and 20 goes in the ones place. The 2 and 20 gets carried over to the tens place. Next, we are going to multiply 6 times 5. And then we have to add the 2 that we carried over. So 6 times 5 equals 30. 30 plus 2 equals 32. Again, we have to regroup. So the 2 and 32 goes in the tens place. The 3 and 32 gets carried over to the hundreds place. Seven times 5 equals 35, plus 3 equals 38. And we have our final answer, 764 times 5 equals 3,820. All right, moving on to example number 3. Shout out to everybody tuning in. Please hit the like button. It really helps the algorithm. It's the Mr. Camilleri show. It's the Mr. C. It's the Mr. Camilleri show. Shout out to Mr. C. All right, next example problem, 543 times 8. So we're going to start in the ones place. We always start in the ones place. We're going to multiply 3 times 8. 3 times 8 equals 24. Because our product is more than 10, we will need to regroup. So the 4 and 24 goes in the ones place. The 2 and 24 gets carried over to the tens place. Next, we're going to multiply 4 times 8, and we have to add the 2 that we carried over. 4 times 8 equals 32. 32 plus 2 equals 34. Again, we got to regroup. The 4 and 34 goes in the tens place. The 3 and 34 gets carried over to the hundreds place. 5 times 8 equals 40, plus 3 equals 43. And we have our final answer, 543 times 8 equals 4,344. All right, next example. Shout out to everybody tuning in. Please hit the like button. I appreciate you. It's the Mr. Camilleri Show. It's the Mr. C. It's the Mr. Camilleri Show. Shout out to Mr. C. How's it going? Welcome to the chat. What's going on is I am modeling how to solve 3-digit by 1-digit multiplication problems. So this next example, we have 974 times 6. So we're going to start out in the ones place. We're going to multiply 4 times 6 to start. 4 times 6 equals 24. So we have to regroup. The 4 and 24 goes in the ones place. The 2 and 24 gets carried over to the tens place. Now, I know a lot of our products have ended up being 24. That's just a coincidence. That's just kind of what the numbers worked out to be. That's not intentional. All right, 7 times 6 equals 42, plus 2 equals 44. So again, we got to regroup. So the 4 and 44 goes in the tens place. The other 4 and 44 gets carried over to the hundreds place. So next, we multiply 9 times 6, and then we have to add the 4 that we carried over. 9 times 6 equals 54, plus 4 equals 58. And we have our final answer, 974 times 6 equals 5,844. All right, next example problem. This could potentially be the final example problem of the video. $985 times 7. So we start in the ones place. 5 times 7 equals 35. So the 5 and 35 goes in the ones place. The 3 gets carried over to the tens place. Next, we multiply 8 times 7, and we have to add the 3 that we carried over. 8 times 7 equals 56, plus 3 equals 59. So the 9 and 59 goes in the tens place. The 5 and 59 gets carried over to the hundreds place. 9 times 7 equals 63, plus 5 equals 68. And we have our final answer. 985 times 7 equals 6,895. I was going to make that our final example, but since we have multiple people watching, I'll do a couple more examples before I call it a video. All right, let me do one. Let me do one where we do not need to regroup, so that way you can see what the difference is. So 243 times 2. So we start in the ones place. We always start in the ones place. 3 times 2 equals 6. Now, we do not need to regroup here because our product is less than 10. Anytime our product is 9 or less, regrouping is not needed. 4 times 2 equals 8. Again, no regrouping needed there. 2 times 2 equals 4. And we have our final answer, 243 times 2 equals 486. All right, next problem. This might be the final problem of the video. 517 times 8. So we start in the ones place. 7 times 8 is 56. So we do need to regroup there. So the 6 and 56 goes in the ones place. The 5 and 56 gets carried over to the tens place. Next, we multiply 1 times 8, and we have to add the 5 that we carried over. 1 times 8 equals 8. 8 plus 5 equals 13. So the 3 and 13 goes in the tens place. The 1 and 13 gets carried over to the hundreds place. 5 times 8 equals 40. Plus 1 equals 41. And we have our final answer. 517 times 8 equals 4,136. That is my live stream. Thank you so much for tuning in. Leave a comment. Let me know what you thought of the video and if there was an area of math or reading that you're having difficulty with. Put that in the comments and I will try to do a future video on that skill. Until next time, this is Mr. Camilleri signing off.